China, the small planet. Hidden secrets kept dark for 500 years. Under the vast sky of the east, where mountains whisper eternal breaths and rivers carve stories thousands of years old, China emerges as a vibrant civilization, older than memory itself, yet rising more powerfully than ever before. With its enormous land area stretching across diverse climates from the icy north to the tropical south, China is the world's fourth largest country and the most populous on Earth, with over 1.4 billion people. This isn't just a country, it's a miniature continent. Majestic mountains, endless deserts, fertile rivers, the cradle of a 5,000-year-old civilization, alongside bustling modern megacities. From ancient dynasties founded on Confucianism and Taoism as moral foundations, through countless rises and falls in history, China has always resiliently reborn. Today, the nation leads the world in technology, green energy, and modern infrastructure, while still preserving its profound cultural soul. Dozens of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, vibrant festivals, diverse and rich cuisine, and awe-inspiring natural landscapes. The journey to explore China is a step through time, from a glorious past to a brilliant future. Join me in beginning this magical trip, where every step touches the history and dreams of a great nation. Zhangjiajie, a surreal world carved from stone and mist. If there's any place on Earth that makes you doubt your own eyesight, it's Zhangjiajie, a forest of gigantic sandstone pillars located in Hunan Province, China. This isn't a typical mountain range with connected peaks, but a majestic cluster of over 3,000 isolated stone columns, many towering more than 1,300 feet high, equivalent to a 100-story skyscraper, rising straight from deep valleys up into the sky. The unique geology here comes from the isolation of each pillar, creating a scene so otherworldly that Hollywood filmmakers chose this place as the model for the planet Pandora in the blockbuster Avatar. When clouds and mist roll in, the bases of the pillars are completely hidden, making the peaks appear to float in mid-air, blurring the line between Earth and heaven. The core value of Zhangjiajie isn't in those dazzling check-in photos, but in the unreal feeling you get standing on glass walkways, clinging to cliff faces, or riding through layers of clouds on the Beilong elevator, the world's tallest outdoor elevator at 1,070 feet. Here, the grandeur of stone, millions of years old, contrasts sharply with the small, fragile nature of humans. The most breathtaking highlight is Tianmen Mountain, home to the massive natural Heaven's Gate Arch and the nerve-wracking 99-turn Death Road that challenges every limit of endurance. Exploring Zhangjiajie is a direct conversation with geological time, a journey that promises to completely redefine your idea of grandeur. It's where nature proves that reality can sometimes be more fantastical and overwhelming than the wildest human imagination, leaving travelers with a profound stillness and reverence before creation. Jiuzhaigou, the mystery of 108 shattered mirrors of the gods. Deep in the folds of the Minshan Mountains in Sichuan Province, Jiuzhaigou appears as a symphony of water and stone, where human definitions of color seem powerless. The most striking feature that makes this place surreal is the turquoise water, a magical blend from jade green to deep cobalt blue, created by extremely high calcium carbonate levels and reflections from unique local algae. The lakes are so crystal clear that you can see every ancient tree trunk lying preserved on the bottom for centuries, calcified and kept in perfect shape like time's sculptures. Behind this geological beauty lies a romantic Tibetan legend of the goddess Simo and the god Dago. The story says that in a moment of carelessness, while fighting demons, the goddess dropped the mirror made of clouds and wind given by her lover, shattering it into 108 pieces that became 108 sparkling turquoise lakes scattered across the valley like divine mirror fragments. The name Jiuzhaigou, Valley of Nine Villages, also recalls the harmonious life of the local Tibetan communities, who see every tree and blade of grass here as carrying a sacred soul. The biggest highlight is Five Flower Lake and Norilang Waterfall, where water cascades through pristine forests, creating an overwhelming and pure scene. Exploring Jiuzhaigou isn't just a sightseeing trip. It's a journey to cherish a masterpiece that could vanish, where people learn to walk lightly to preserve the sacredness of nature. Red Panda, the fiery soul, hidden in the Himalayan mist. Hidden in the cool, moist forests of the high mountains in southwestern China, the red panda is one of the most intriguing animals right from its name. Though it has a round shape and lives among bamboo forests like the giant panda, this species doesn't belong to the bear family but is in its own unique taxonomic branch. They're just a bit bigger than a house cat, with thick reddish-brown fur, a long ringed tail, and incredible climbing skills, since most of their life happens in the trees amid cool broadleaf forests and dense bamboo groves. Red pandas mainly eat bamboo, but can also add fruits, insects, bird eggs, and other small foods to adapt to the harsh mountain forest environment. What makes the red panda special in China's wild world isn't just its cute appearance, but its near-mysterious secrecy. They usually live solitary lives, moving quietly through the canopy, and are very hard to spot in the wild. Their habitat stretches across the eastern Himalayas, with a significant portion in China, but their living areas are shrinking due to deforestation and the decline of bamboo groves and nesting trees. So, behind that soft, gentle image is a fragile story of a creature heavily dependent on protecting Asia's high mountain forests. Looking at a red panda is also seeing a quiet, lesser-known, but incredibly captivating part of China's natural beauty. The Forbidden City, 600 years imprisoning the breath of dynasties and the art of ruling. The Forbidden City in Beijing isn't just a royal palace. It's a masterpiece of spatial psychology, designed as a gigantic machine to subdue wills and create an absolute sense of power. With a total area of about 178 acres and more than 9,000 rooms, this complex brings the cosmic order down to Earth, where the emperor is seen as the son of heaven. The most striking feature of this power machine is the central divine axis running north to south. When a high official steps through massive gates and across vast stone-paved plazas with not a single tree, the emptiness and overwhelming scale make a person feel as small as a grain of sand before the grandeur of the court. The most iconic is the Hall of Supreme Harmony, where the emperor's throne sits elevated on 3 levels of white marble terraces. The story of power hides in the smallest details. From the 9,999 rooms, the number 9 symbolizes eternity and the ultimate, to the rows of mythical beasts on the golden roof tiles reserved only for the emperor. There's an hidden story about the security of power here, where the entire foundations of the main palaces are layered with up to 15 courses of bricks, overlapping in different directions to completely prevent any tunneling attempts by assassins. Exploring the Forbidden City isn't visiting an ancient museum. It's experiencing how architecture can manipulate emotions, where every brick and roof corner is calculated to affirm one single truth. Power is unchanging, and the Emperor's majesty is infinite. Feng Shui, the invisible code between Earth's breath and humans. In the Chinese worldview, Feng Shui isn't superstition. It's an ancient science of energy flow, an art of arranging space for perfect harmony between people and nature. Feng means wind, representing moving energy, and Shui means water, representing life sources and wealth accumulation. The philosophy of heaven-earth-human unity, where every structure from grand palaces to small homes in alleys is calculated according to the laws of the 5 elements and 8 trigrams. People believe a site's terrain or a door's direction can determine a family's rise or fall because it's how we receive the flow of qi, the invisible but powerful energy operating throughout the universe. Feng Shui is its subtle presence in architectural wonders, like the Forbidden City's winding Golden Water River or Suzhou Gardens, arranged to gather energy and generate fortune. There's a story that ancient geomancers would spend years observing mountains and rivers to find the dragon vein, where the essence of heaven and earth converges, bringing lasting prosperity to those who dwell there. Feng Shui culture is a journey decoding familiar symbols, like bagua mirrors, Pixiu statues, or intentional interior arrangements, where every detail aims to neutralize bad energy and invite good fortune. This is an experience that promises to completely change how you view your surroundings. They're not just lifeless objects, but a living ecosystem where people learn to lean on and merge with the Earth's heartbeat to find lasting peace and prosperity. Shanghai, a symphony between golden past and sci-fi future. Nestled at the gateway to the Pacific and stretching along the Huangpu River, Shanghai stands as the brightest symbol of modern China's dramatic transformation, where ancient Asian spirit meets and blends mesmerizingly with Western influences. Known as the Pearl of the Orient, this city has the look of a metropolis that never sleeps, where the fast pace of a top global financial center runs alongside romantic, classic charm hidden in narrow lanes. What makes Shanghai stand out most is the stunning architectural contrast. Just across the river, the scene shifts from 19th century European-style buildings along the Bund to a world of soaring glass and steel towers in Pudong. The strongest impression Shanghai leaves is the dazzling skyline of Jiuzhaigou, where the Oriental Pearl TV Tower and Shanghai Tower rise like markers of ambition reaching for the future. Few realize this glamorous city started as a humble fishing village by the river, then became the Paris of the East, thanks to its international trading port status, with corners of the old concessions still echoing the cultural boom of the 1930s. Walking through Shanghai is walking through layers of time in one city, from the elegant, serene Yew Garden with its refined landscaping to the bustling energy of Nanjing Road pedestrian street glowing under endless lights. The whole experience awakens every sense. So amid the relentless rush of the future, you still catch quiet moments recalling a Shanghai night once captured in music, film, and memory. Dance of Steel, the mystery of machines that dance and the disappearance of manual labor. Are you ready to time travel to the future? Forget what you know about modern cities and welcome to Shenzhen or Hangzhou in China, where you'll truly feel like you're living in a real-life cyberpunk movie. Here, the boundary between humans and machines is blurring thanks to an invisible hand called artificial intelligence. What will amaze you most? isn't just skyscrapers covered in LED lights or driverless transit systems, but the presence of machine residents. In giant factories, thousands of robotic arms work tirelessly in total darkness, producing precision items without a single light. On the streets, cute little delivery robots weave confidently through crowds, while driverless robo-taxis carry passengers everywhere. But what really makes the world bow in amazement is these machines' artistic ability. You might catch robot dance performances at tech events, or even right on the streets. These robots don't just move stiffly, they can dance to music, perform graceful moves, and even interact with people. A prime example is the Robot Orchestra from Shanghai Jiaotong University, where robots play various instruments professionally. China's breakneck speed in applying technology has turned it into a living laboratory for the future. They're not just building cities, they're reprogramming how humanity lives, a world where people are freed from repetitive tasks to focus on creativity and enjoying life. This isn't just development, it's a revolution, redefining what we once dreamed of as the future. Gobi Desert, the mysterious land where wind and sand bury ancient secrets. The Gobi Desert isn't just a dead land of dry sand dunes and howling winds. It was once humanity's most vital economic and military artery. Don't mistake the Silk Road for a single path. In the Gobi, it was a network of relay stations and strategic oases, acting like a superhighway linking east and west. The absolute harshness of temperatures here can swing from 104 degrees Fahrenheit to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit in a short time. Water is worth more than gold, and every story of human survival, from ancient caravans to modern nomads, revolves around conquering drought. The endless dunes stretching to the horizon don't just hold sand, they bury ruins of once thriving city-states, turning this into an open-air museum of human will. The most overwhelming highlight of the Gobi is the singing dunes, where wind blowing through sand grains creates deep, rumbling sounds like ancient warriors' battle drums. There's a story that those sounds are the souls of lost caravans forever buried under deep sand. Exploring the Gobi is facing the infinity of time and space, where you'll see the world's first dinosaur egg fossils discovered at the fiery red Bayanzag cliffs. This is a journey promising to bring you back to the most primal instincts: survival. The Gobi doesn't just test physical endurance, it's where people contemplate their smallness before vast, sandy wilderness, where every drop of water holds the value of a life. Nalati grassland, where life runs to the rhythm of grass and wind. On the Nalati grassland in far-off Xinjiang, the concept of time completely detaches from clocks or calendars of the modern world. Sitting at over 6,500 feet elevation and surrounded by the eternal snow peaks of the Tian Shan Mountains, Nalati is one of the world's highest grasslands, where human life is measured by nature's shifts. The philosophy of living in tune with the seasons. A year doesn't start in January, but when the first grass shoots emerge from melting snow, and ends when cold northern winds signal migration time. For local Kazakh communities, wealth isn't in money, but counted by livestock numbers and the freedom to roam vast green fields to the horizon. The most captivating part of Nalati is the vivid nomadic lifestyle, with herds of horses running free across the plains and white yurt tents dotting valleys of wildflowers. There's a story that locals see horses as their wings. A child learns to ride before walking and sings before speaking, creating a sacred bond between people and animals. The journey back to Nalati is a complete liberation of the mind, where you learn to listen to wind through pine trees and feel the slowest, most original rhythm of life. It's a promise of returning to your true self, where all urban pressures melt before the embrace of sky and earth, leaving only stillness and pure happiness in merging with wild nature's eternal cycle. Ghost cities and the speed of urbanization. China's ghost cities are proof of ambitious building plans and the unexpected downsides of the country's real estate boom. Empty skyscrapers, streets with no traffic, and an eerie silence that can give you chills. Leading the list is Ordos, a new city built in the middle of the vast, empty coal mining plains of Inner Mongolia. It was expected to house 1 million people, but after more than a decade, it has only about 100,000 residents, with 80% to 90% of the apartments held by investors waiting for profits, while real buyers show little interest. Across the country, there are now up to 65 million empty apartments, enough housing for the entire population of France, because Chinese people see real estate as a safe place to park their eggs when they aren't free to invest overseas. Besides those scattered cities out in the middle of nowhere, there are also ghost districts right inside major cities, like in Kunming, where Sunshine City was left abandoned and 15 towers had to be demolished in 2021 after the developer ran out of money, or Evergrande Splendor City, with hundreds of shops, kindergartens, and hospitals shut down because Evergrande is buried under $300 billion in debt. Another phenomenon is Tianducheng, a mini Paris with replicas of the Eiffel Tower, Arc de Triomphe, and French-style cobblestone streets. But it only draws day trippers from Shanghai and lacks real residents. Similarly, Jiuzhaigou was promoted as the Chinese Manhattan, but its streets stay quiet, with the shopping mall and IMAX theater still closed for years. Thames Town, on the outskirts of Shanghai, recreates London with red phone booths, fish and chip shops, and British pubs, but it stands mostly empty because students and university faculty can't afford the high property prices. Meanwhile, Zhangjiajie in Yunnan has broken the curse. Once dug up to build an empty city, it now gets lively during school breaks thanks to 7 universities moving in, attracting Zara, H&M stores, night markets, and bustling restaurants and shops. Finally, Pudong, the new district across from Shanghai, was once mocked by The Economist as a glitzy mausoleum for a dead pharaoh, with 70% of buildings empty in 1998. But Shanghai's government stuck with it by relocating government offices and offering incentives to international businesses. By 2022, Pudong's GDP topped $400 billion, and its population density even surpassed Midtown Manhattan. These examples prove explosive economic growth built on construction and real estate investment can create miraculous leverage, but it also leaves devastating side effects like dozens of empty cities and neighborhoods, living proof of an out-of-control, concrete thirst. And only when government and market work together on viable projects do those ghost towns slowly come back to life. Before we move on to the next part, I'd really appreciate it if you'd take 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot and keeps us motivated to create more great and meaningful videos for you. Thank you. China's transportation. Endless streams of vehicles in a superpower's hunger for mobility. Transportation in China always feels like you're watching the heartbeat of a gigantic country where everything moves at high speed, high density, and almost unimaginable scale. During peak times like National Day or Chinese New Year, the massive highways can quickly turn into endless lines of vehicles. Some stretches open up, with huge numbers of lanes stretching out ahead, yet they still end up in serious gridlock, when thousands of vehicles all head the same direction. The scene impresses not just because of the sheer crowds, but because it shows the enormous traffic pressure that China's cities and transport corridors have to handle every year. Yet what makes China's transportation truly special isn't just the scale, but how people adapt to it. From roadside help during long jams to increasingly flexible traffic management, everything reflects a society that keeps finding ways to keep things running smoothly under massive movement pressure. And if those jammed highways show the country's size, then Chongqing reveals a completely different face of Chinese transportation. Built among mountains, deep rivers, and layered neighborhoods, the city has roads, overpasses, and rail lines developed across multiple levels of space, giving the feeling of a three-dimensional urban maze. So looking at China's transportation is also looking at how a hugely populated nation organizes daily life, adapts to tough terrain, and keeps expanding in the modern age. Longmen Grottoes, fossils of faith, carved in ancient stone. Stretching along both banks of the Yangtze River in Henan Province, the Longmen Grottoes stand as an epic stone hymn, marking the brilliant peak of ancient Chinese sculptural art and religious life. This complex is like a gigantic encyclopedia carved into more than a mile of limestone cliffs, holding over 100,000 meticulously carved Buddha statues. What makes Longmen a one-of-a-kind wonder is its grand scale, combined with breathtaking detail, built up steadily through golden dynasties from the Northern Wei to the Tang. Standing before cliffs, covered in caves large and small, you can't help but be amazed at the ancient people's stubborn will to breathe spirit into stone, turning cold rock into symbols of immortality and profound aesthetic beauty. The most overwhelming soul of Longmen is the giant Lushina Buddha statue in Fengxian Temple, a masterpiece over 56 feet tall with a transcendent face radiating compassion, joy, and a gaze that seems to understand every human sorrow. Legend says the face was modeled after Wu Zetian, China's only female emperor, as a way to honor the dynasty's power intertwined with religious authority. Though thousands of years of weather and historical upheavals have left many sites less than perfect, that very weathering creates an atmosphere of solemnity, melancholy, and deep reflection. Visiting Longmen is a journey back through time, where you feel humble before the boundless creativity and fierce faith of past generations. In the quiet space, you'll hear whispers from the mountain stone and clearly feel cultural and spiritual values that remain intact, enduring through the flow of time. Chinese calligraphy, when brushstrokes become the heartbeat of the soul. In the quiet space of an old tea house, a brush soaked in Chinese ink begins its graceful dance across rice paper. This isn't just writing characters, it's a meditative journey where the line between artist and brush completely disappears. In the old view, calligraphy is heart painting, a picture that redraws the heartbeat and the flow of inner energy in the body. Every stroke carries visible weight. A horizontal line must be solid like a mountain range, a sweeping stroke light, and free like an eagle gliding on wind. The philosophy of one moment, one stroke allows no hesitation or erasing. Once the ink soaks into the paper, it's the only truth that can't be changed. This demands total focus from the writer, where every breath controls the ink's flow, creating rich variations of thick and thin with musical and painterly quality. The life of calligraphy also comes from the perfect harmony of the four treasures of the study. The quiet fragrance of hand-ground ink stick mixes with the special texture of the inkstone to create a meditative atmosphere. Each character doesn't just carry literal meaning, It holds the writer's character, style, and even destiny. Through thousands of years of history, those black ink strokes still quietly tell the story of a civilization that values refinement and deep inner strength over any outward flash. Tibet, the third pole of Earth and the land of the impossible. Tibet exists as a majestic spiritual entity, ruling at the highest point of humanity, where the sky seems to come down low enough to touch the stars. Known as the roof of the world at an average elevation over 14,800 feet, this land holds a harsh yet incredibly majestic ecosystem with eternal snow-capped mountains, calm turquoise lakes in the wild plateau, and wind-swept high passes. What sets this land completely apart from the rest of the world is the deep flow of Tantric Buddhism, woven into every daily rhythm. Here, faith isn't just in scriptures. It lives vividly through colorful 5 prayer flags, fluttering pilgrimage paths worn by millions of footsteps, and the rich smell of yak butter lamps spreading from ancient monasteries thousands of years old. The most overwhelming soul of this high plateau is sacred Mount Kailash, the cosmic center in the beliefs of 4 major religions, where people believe one full circumambulation around the base can wash away all sins of a lifetime. In traditional belief, locals don't see death as an end, but a transition, with the sky burial ritual returning the body to dust and sky in the purest way. Venturing into this land is a real test of physical limits, but a miraculous healing for the soul. Travelers encounter devotees performing the 3 steps, 1 prostration, every 3 steps dropping fully to the ground over thousands of miles, regardless of snow or rocks. This journey promises to completely change your view of life, where nature's harshness only highlights the steadfastness of faith and the calm beauty of people facing fate. Shangri-La, a piece of heaven on earth and the valleys of immortality. Though it began in the pages of the novel Lost Horizon, the real Shangri-La still exists in full enchantment at the remote border where Yunnan meets Tibet. Sitting on a plateau over 9,800 feet high, this land is covered in lush green valleys, sheltered by eternal snow mountains and mirrored in crystal-clear lakes reflecting the deep blue sky. The most captivating feature of Shangri-La is the perfect blend of cultural layers, where golden-roofed Tibetan monasteries sit peacefully beside Lisu or Naxi villages, weaving a unique, multi-ethnic garden of paradise. Coming here isn't just finding a place on the map. It's a journey back to pure spiritual state, where people live freely amid majestic nature and completely detached from the rushed modern world. In the Tibetan language, Shangri-La means sun and moon in the heart, a metaphor for absolute inner balance that every visitor can clearly feel upon arrival. Nearby, Hudakuo National Park appears with pristine ancient forests and herds of yaks grazing leisurely by Bitterhigh Lake, creating a picture of the eternal sky and earth. Shangri-La is an experience that takes you from awe at raw beauty to deep, settling moments in the soul. This is one of the rare places where the line between reality and legend becomes thin, where every breath is filled with freedom and every step touches the sacredness of a true heaven on earth. Chinese cuisine, a taste map from diversity to unity. Chinese cuisine isn't one uniform world of flavors. It's a cultural map shaped by geography, climate, and history in each region. Across that vast territory, every area developed its own style, reflecting local natural conditions and ways of life. In the north, With colder and drier weather, wheat plays the main role, so noodles, steamed buns, and dumplings show up heavily in daily meals. Meanwhile, the south, with its dense rivers, fertile fields, and abundant seafood favors rice, congee, fresh seafood, and dishes that emphasize lightness and refinement. What gives Chinese cuisine its depth isn't just ingredients, but cooking techniques. Chefs place huge importance on huo hao, the skill of controlling fire, temperature, and timing to reach ideal flavor and texture. Then there's knife work, where every cut serves not just looks, but determines how ingredients cook, absorb seasoning, and keep their own character. In that culture, cooking isn't just daily labor. It's almost a form of expressing skill and experience. Chinese cuisine also ties to the idea of food and medicine from the same source, meaning food and medicinal ingredients share the same roots to nourish the body. Meals aren't just for filling up, they're for balancing yin and yang, harmonizing the 5 flavors and maintaining health. From big banquet tables to family meals gathered around the round table, food always connects to the spirit of togetherness. Every dish, therefore, carries not just its own taste, but tells the story of an ancient civilization that sees the meal as the center of life and human connection. Pingyao Ancient City, a living museum of the Wall Street of the ancient East. In the heart of Shanxi province, Pingyao appears as a city where the past still keeps its original shape. It's one of China's best-preserved ancient cities, with city walls, old gates, stone streets, and traditional courtyard houses still largely intact from the Ming and Qing dynasties. The space here feels like stepping back into a time when pace of life, architecture, and urban order still carried strong marks of feudal Chinese society. The special value of Pingyao isn't just its old-fashioned look, but its prominent role in Chinese commercial and financial history. During its heyday, Pingyao was a key economic center where trade boomed and Shangxi merchant families spread influence across many regions. The city is tied to the birth of Piaohao, early banking houses that let merchants transfer money over long, dangerous distances without carrying silver. The most representative is Rishengchang, often seen as China's first Piaohao. This model's appearance marked a huge step forward in trade history, reflecting the advanced financial thinking and organization of Pingyao merchants. Inside the ancient city, many large mansions with enclosed courtyards, high walls, and sturdy construction still exist, showing the wealth and sense of asset protection among old families. When the old streets light up at night, red lanterns glow along eaves and stone-paved roads, giving Pingyao a calm, deep, nostalgic beauty. Every alley, wooden signboard, and old courtyard recalls an era when reputation, commerce, and family tradition created the special vitality of this city. Tea culture, the ritual of stillness and human connection. In China, tea isn't just a drink. It's a whole philosophy, a bridge between people and nature, and between people themselves. From the lush green tea hills of Zhejiang to the aged pu'er tea cakes of Yunnan, every sip holds the flavor of earth, sky, and time. The most distinctive feature of Chinese tea culture is the meticulous process of gongfu tea, where water temperature, the material of the purple clay teapot, and steeping time all have to reach perfect balance to awaken the soul of the tea leaves. What makes tea culture so captivating is its philosophy of slow living. People believe drinking tea calms the mind. In the rising steam, the noise of the modern world fades away, making room for deep, sincere conversations. There's a story that ancient tea masters would choose spring water from high mountain peaks or melted snow from plum blossoms to brew tea, because they believed only pure water could fully reveal the true character of the tea. Exploring tea culture is a journey in learning to listen to your own breathing, where hospitality shows through a cup offered with full sincerity, promising a soul connection that's rare anywhere else. This isn't just an elegant pastime. It's how the Chinese find inner peace amid life's endless changes. Yuanyang rice terraces, the Han people's stairway to heaven, perched on the slopes of the Ailao Mountains in southern Yunnan province. The Yuanyang rice terraces aren't just a famous scenic spot. They're one of Asia's most impressive agricultural landscapes. This is the highlight of the Honghe Hani rice terraces, a system the Han people created and maintained sustainably for over 1,300 years. In 2013, this landscape was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its outstanding cultural value, farming techniques, and harmonious relationship between people and the high mountain environment. What makes Yuanyang unforgettable is how its beauty shifts with the seasons and light. During the water-filling season, usually from November to April, thousands of flooded terraces reflect the sky, clouds, and sun like tiered mirrors on the mountainside. At sunrise or sunset, the whole surface gradually turns from cool silver to gold, orange, then deep purple, creating an almost surreal scene. The most famous viewpoints are Duoyishu, Bada, and Laohuzui, where you can best feel the scale and rhythm of this sea of terraces. But behind the beauty is an astonishing survival intelligence. The Han built an interconnected system. Forests at the mountaintop, villages midway, terraces below, and a network of channels linking everything. Water flows from upstream forests through small ditches to each field, creating an efficient, sustainable ecosystem that has lasted centuries. Visiting Yuanyang isn't just admiring a pretty view. It's witnessing how people turned steep mountains into a living civilization, where labor, belief, and nature still blend as one. The Terracotta Army, an immortal dream, buried in the earth of China's first emperor, hidden beneath thick layers of soil in Shanxi province. The Terracotta Army isn't just an earth-shaking archaeological find. It's clear evidence of Qin Shi Huang's ambition to extend his power into the afterlife. This is a gigantic underground empire with over 8,000 life-size clay soldiers, horses, and chariots buried to guard the tomb of China's first emperor who unified the country. What has stunned the world for decades is the near-total uniqueness. No two soldiers' faces are exactly alike. Each statue has its own facial features, hairstyle, beard, expression, and clothing, as if recreating the real diversity of the Qin army more than 2,000 years ago. The overwhelming appeal of this wonder lies in the almost obsessive craftsmanship in every detail. When first completed, each soldier was painted in bright colors and equipped with sharp bronze weapons made with anti-corrosion techniques far beyond what was normal for that era. Surrounding it all is still a huge unsolved mystery: the central tomb of Qin Shi Huang, which this army has silently guarded for millennia. Ancient records mention rivers of mercury flowing inside and trap mechanisms designed to stop any intruder. Standing before the Terracotta Army is facing head-on the scale of power, military thinking, and craving for immortality of a man who wanted to take his entire empire underground with him. It's a place that can leave you both awestruck and chilled by history's grandeur and harshness, as each clay statue seems to quietly await an order that never really ended. Traditional Chinese medicine, the healing art of balance between humans and the universe. In China, traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, isn't just seen as a way to treat illness. It's a key part of how people here view health and the body. While modern medicine often focuses on finding specific disease causes, TCM takes a broader approach, seeing the body as a unified whole, where every issue relates to the flow of qi and blood, yin-yang balance, and inner harmony. This mindset created a very different ancient medical tradition that has endured through many dynasties and still strongly influences today. What stands out about Chinese TCM is that it doesn't just treat sickness after the body weakens. It emphasizes prevention and long-term harmony. Familiar methods like acupuncture, herbal prescriptions, cupping, tuina massage, or using medicinal herbs are all built on the idea that the body can self-regulate if properly supported. In TCM, a pain or unusual symptom isn't always an isolated problem, but a sign the whole body is out of balance. What's remarkable is that in a modernizing China, TCM still holds its own place. From hospitals and clinics to old-style herbal shops, this medicine remains a living memory of Eastern culture. It's not just a way to cure, it's a long-standing philosophy. To be healthy, people must first live in harmony with their own bodies. Qingdao, a love song between the salty sea and Western architecture. On the sunny shores of the Yellow Sea, Qingdao is nicknamed the Switzerland of the East, where emerald beaches curve around hills dotted with red-roofed European-style villas. This charming port city blends modern life smoothly with a laid-back resort vibe. What makes Qingdao stand out most is the unique mix of peaceful natural bays and colonial German architectural heritage, giving the city a classic yet lively, fresh look. The most stunning highlight here is No. 1 Bathing Beach, with its long stretch of fine sand and crystal-clear water, where you can feel the ocean's breath, right in the heart of the city. An interesting story tied to this place is the birth of Qingdao beer, now a global pride, brewed with pure water from the sacred Laotian mountains. Exploring Qingdao's sea, you can't miss Zhangjiajie Pier, stretching out into the water, or the dreamy seaside roads in the Badagwan area, where every step brings total relaxation. This is a journey promising to take you away from the noise and immerse you in cool sea breezes, where you can enjoy fresh seafood with a cold beer while watching the sunset paint the whole Green Bay red. Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, three teachings as one, and the invisible backbone of the East Asian soul. For thousands of years, Chinese thought wasn't shaped by one single religion, but by the steady blending of three streams: Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism. This is the invisible backbone guiding every behavior, from how emperors ruled to how ordinary people treated others. The most distinctive feature of this system is how perfectly the three complement each other. Confucianism teaches engagement with the world, taking responsibility for family and society. Taoism teaches withdrawal, living in harmony with nature and returning to your true self. Buddhism teaches inward focus, letting go of attachments to reach inner stillness. What draws people to this philosophy is its amazing ability to merge, creating a lifestyle where inner and outer are one. Someone can use Confucian principles to cultivate themselves and build a career, but in tough times, turn to Taoist openness for freedom and Buddhist compassion for tolerance. There's a famous saying, "When successful, follow Confucius. When frustrated, follow Tao. When in pain, turn to Buddha." Exploring this way of living is a journey into a quiet space where you realize true strength isn't in resisting, but in adapting and balancing life's ups and downs. This isn't just ancient knowledge, it's a spiritual map helping modern people find solid ground in a shaking world. The Yangtze River, eternal dragon vein and witness to history. The Yangtze River, or Zhangjiajie, isn't just Asia's longest river. It's one of the most important lifelines in Chinese history. Stretching over 3,900 miles, it starts in the high west and flows to the East China Sea, passing through varied landscapes before opening into a vast eastern delta. For thousands of years, the Yangtze has nourished the land, connected communities, and helped form many of the country's major economic and cultural centers. If the Yellow River is seen as the ancient cradle of Chinese civilization, the Yangtze is the enduring lifeblood that let that civilization grow and expand through the ages. What makes the Yangtze especially appealing is the constant change of scenery along its course. Some stretches are wide and gentle, mirroring villages, fields, and riverside cities. Others squeeze between rocky mountains, creating rugged, majestic views. The standout is the Three Gorges area, with its famous Kutang-Wu and Xiling Gorges. Here, sheer cliffs rise straight from the water, forming one of China's most spectacular landscapes. The Yangtze has long inspired poetry, painting, and cultural memory among the Chinese. It was a muse for poets like Li Bai. Today, besides its natural beauty and historical depth, the river is linked to the Three Gorges Dam, a project showing both humanity's close bond and conflict with nature. Exploring the Yangtze is a journey through landscapes, history, and a living, ever-moving rhythm. Nanyin music, the sound heritage that still makes later generations enchanted. Nanyin music is one of the oldest music forms in China, originating from Quanzhou, Fujian, and recognized by UNESCO as intangible cultural heritage in 2009. Nanyin music expresses contemplation and inner cultivation, often described as a spiritual practice. The melodies are gentle and profound, usually including songs and instrumental pieces. The Nanyin ensemble includes the pipa lute, erhu fiddle, jiao flute, and especially bamboo clappers that create sharp, rustic, yet captivating sounds. All combine to create an ancient, refined, and unforgettable sound world. Known as the living fossil of ancient Chinese music, Nanyin preserves the blend between folk culture and Buddhism. Through many historical changes, this art form has not lost its vitality, but on the contrary, is being strongly continued in modern life. The interesting thing is that although it was once a field mainly held by men, today, women are also making important contributions to preserving and renewing Nanyin, helping this heritage continue to resonate through many generations. Nanyin is not just music to listen to, but sound to feel, to remember, and to be enchanted by the beauty of a heritage that transcends time. Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, where the jade dragon sleeps peacefully amid Yunnan clouds. In Yunnan province, Jade Dragon Snow Mountain isn't just a famous scenic spot, it's one of the most spectacular symbols of southwestern China. This mountain range near Lijiang has 13 snow-covered peaks almost connected, with the highest reaching about 18,360 feet. From a distance, the whole range curves like a jade dragon lying among the clouds, which is the origin of its legendary name. What makes Jade Dragon Snow Mountain special isn't just its majestic beauty, but the surreal feeling it creates. Against the deep blue plateau sky, white slopes, sheer cliffs, and snow glaciers appear like an unreal painting. It's also noted as one of the rare low-latitude glacier areas and a key natural highlight tied to Lijiang's scenery. It's not just a viewpoint. Jade Dragon Snow Mountain carries its own cultural color, linked to the life and beliefs of the local Naxi people around Lijiang. So this isn't simply a mountain. It's like a gateway to a world of snow, clouds, and legends, where China's nature shows both grand and enchanting beauty. Suzhou silk and embroidery, where delicate silk threads record the glory of an imperial era. Silk and embroidery art have long held a special place in traditional Chinese culture. From planting mulberry trees, raising silkworms, spinning threads, to weaving fabric and embroidering patterns, an entire intricate handicraft process has been formed and preserved through many generations. Silk was not only a precious material in daily life, but was also once associated with high-end clothing, ceremonial items, and products for the nobility and imperial court. On soft and thin silk fabric, embroidery art developed into a highly aesthetic form of expression. Using just a needle and tiny threads, artisans could create landscapes, birds, flowers, or portraits with extremely high detail. The highlight of Chinese embroidery lies in the finesse of each stitch, the soft color blending, and the way images on the fabric come alive, like paintings. Over time, many regions in China developed their own embroidery styles, adding richness to this art. But no matter where, silk and embroidery always reflect the patience, aesthetic sense, and masterful skill of the artisans. Therefore, the value of Chinese silk lies not only in the beauty of the material, but also in the cultural depth and long tradition embedded in every thread and every stitch. Chinese totem culture. When mythical creatures carry the soul of an entire civilization. In Chinese culture, totems aren't just decorative images or folk legends, they're sacred symbols tied to beliefs, power, and human aspirations for thousands of years. Each totem carries its own special layer of meaning, standing for luck, strength, protection, and good fortune. The most prominent are the four spirits: dragon, unicorn, turtle, and phoenix. Mythical creatures deeply imprinted in art, architecture, religion, and spiritual life of the Chinese. Beyond spiritual meaning, totem culture reflects how ancients explained the world around them. Figures like the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise aren't just mysterious beings. They're closely linked to ancient astronomy, directions, 5 elements, and Eastern philosophy. Each creature represents a direction, an element, and a unique energy, creating a deep connection between heaven, earth, nature, and humans. That's why totems in Chinese culture aren't just worshipped. They appear in feng shui, rituals, and even ideas of governing the country. What's special is that many totems tied to imperial power, becoming symbols of rulers and supreme order in feudal society. Over time, these creatures haven't faded. They still live on in temples, roof tiles, paintings, and cultural memory as sacred traces of a civilization that always believed an invisible thread connects humans and the universe. The Great Wall, the stone triumphal song, winding along the backbone of the empire. The Great Wall is not just a simple military project, but the greatest symbol of the will and strength of the Chinese nation throughout thousands of years. Stretching over 13,049 miles across the harshest terrains, from towering mountains to barren deserts. This wall was built and reinforced through many dynasties to protect the borders from invasions. Most of the solid brick and stone sections we see today are the colossal heritage from the Ming dynasty, where every brick is soaked with the sweat and labor of millions of workers. The construction technique of the Great Wall is a smart combination of folk experience and peak military thinking. Ancient architects used lime mixed with glutinous rice to create super durable mortar that bonded the stone blocks tightly and kept them standing firm against earthquakes or weather erosion. The system of watchtowers and signal towers was scientifically arranged along the wall, allowing alarm messages to be transmitted by smoke and fire from the border to the capital at astonishing speed in a short time. Today, the Great Wall has become a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of humanity's top destinations. Walking on the stone steps, worn by the footprints of history, visitors not only admire the majestic natural scenery, but also feel the breath of the glorious past. The Great Wall stands there like a giant stone silk ribbon winding along the dragon's back, an eternal testament to the desire for peace and the indomitable resilience of an ancient civilization. China endures as a land shaped by scale and contrast, deserts and river valleys, imperial memory and rising skylines, ancient philosophies and relentless reinvention. Across this vast geography, history is not sealed in stone. It still moves through cities, landscapes, and everyday life. And perhaps that is the real mystery of China. How can a civilization so old continue to transform with such force without losing the weight of its soul? If this journey moved you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and keep traveling with us. There are many more worlds still waiting to be seen.